Hi everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Boss Beginner Series. This is episode 4. Today we're going to talk about gems. In my opinion, gems are probably going to be one of the most important topics that we actually discuss, short of some of the other higher level player features. So, as you may know at this point here, gems are the primary currency in all of Dungeon Boss. So pretty much anything you want can be done with gems versus some of the other things like honor or gold. So gems are important because they're used in a bunch of different areas. So depending on your player level, the amount of gems you're going to need for day-to-day operations, the number of gems you can actually acquire per day, and just the overall usage of gems in general will tend to change. Early on in the game, if you go into your quests and you go into campaign, you're going to find that there's a lot of easy quests out there that yield gems. And sometimes they might yield 50, 100, 200, 250 gems, 500 gems. I've been through pretty much everything, so I've experienced a ton of different gem rewards. Now I'm at the point where I really don't have much left to do campaign-wise other than this last little bit of Lady Nimriel here and getting a few more 6-star heroes. So close to that one, but you can see there's a 180 gem reward on that. Now, from what I've noticed, a lot of the progression early on in the game is going to be completing those campaign quests. But if you look at your daily quests, you'll see that there's gem rewards for these as well. So if we just go through mine, I haven't done any quests at all today. We can see there's 10 there. So 25, that's 35, 45, 55, 60 total gems from quests. On top of this here, there's also 275 for the tower. So 275 plus 60 is going to be 335 total gems for the day. That's not taking into account anything you might earn from individual events. Sometimes you'll find some things in here, though most of the time those are just tickets or some other type of currency, and any other campaign things you might actually complete. On top of those 335 gems that you would get, sometimes when you beat levels for the first time, you'll earn gems there as well. So playing through the normal campaign, the champion campaign, and even the boss mode campaign will net you some gems as well. So as you go through and start earning gems, the main thing is going to be where are we going to use those gems and what should we save them for. So first things first, the normal usage of gems is going to be in your heroic portal. So the thing to note about the heroic portal is there's usually some sort of event going on here. Take a look at what your features are and such like that. Now, for lower players, everybody in general chat is going to tell you to save your gems till you get 2700 so you can do the times 10 summon. I'm no different. I would suggest that as well. But in addition to that, be smart about how you're actually spending your gems. If you can't afford to or you don't want to wait until you get 2700, look to see what sort of feature is in here and who you're actually going for. Keep in mind that if your main goal here is to try and get Hansuke the Undying so you can have him for your undead team, keep in mind that just because he may be featured doesn't mean you're going to get him, and it also doesn't mean you're going to get a full unlock either. So when you're looking at these here, take a look at what's available for you and double check that it's not just tokens available. Sometimes people that are going for a full unlock are a little bit surprised to see that they spend 2 or 3 summons and only get 4 or 8 tokens and they don't even get an actual unlock, and then they have the remorse about spending those gems when they really shouldn't have. For me, though, when I look at spending gems, I tend to hoard most of my gems for the most part. I'm fortunate enough at this point where I don't need too many more hero tokens, so I don't tend to do much. But definitely go into your events tab and look to see what's actually in the portal here. So most of the time, the reason you want to save up 2700 gems is this portal event here, and it happens probably once a week. They're going to feature somebody, and it's going to give you a guaranteed unlock. Back when I first started, there was no such feature. You would sometimes get a feature that says somebody's got like double tokens in the portal, but rarely did we run into an instance of a guaranteed unlock. So newer players have it a lot better now as far as unlocking certain heroes. So save up 2,700. I would actually be able to do that today. There is no feature today though. After I finish my quests, I don't really need to do that. But it's a good way to guarantee that you're going to get that one hero that you actually want. So if you're trying to unlock Igorok for the first time, or maybe you want to get Furnace or one of the other heroes that you just don't have, save those gems. If push comes to shove and you really need somebody, you could always buy some gems. We'll talk about that in just a second here. So in addition to earning gems from quests and other rewards and stuff, you'll sometimes earn them from PvP tournaments, although I don't know that that's necessarily the case anymore with the new PvP changes. You can also go into the shop and buy gems. So if you're committing to the VIP levels, you will notice that when you buy these gems here, notice you're going to get a bonus. With my VIP level, if I purchase the one set of gems, I get 3,800 for the card of gems. I would get an extra 1,700 for the box of gems. So definitely take a look at how those are going to be. And now, personally, I wouldn't spend $100 on gems. I think there's better specials that you could purchase for $100 and probably get just as good as stuff. So definitely take a look at anything you have in your specials tab before just spending on gems willy-nilly. So nothing here that really jumps out at me, and honestly I'm not looking to spend that kind of money right now anyways. So where should you actually spend your gems? That's the big question. So we talked about the heroic portal, which is going to be your main source of spending. It is common sometimes that if you're at the tail end of getting a hero and you need them for that final star or something like that, any of the dungeons that you go into, once you actually beat this, you'll be able to reset that. So I'll just do a quick loot here just so I can get the token. And so let's say I needed one more token for Selwyn. I could use my gems here and refresh it, and then I could just run the quick loot or run the dungeon again. I don't see that as a very common instance. Most people are fine waiting one more day. It depends on what sort of a situation you're in. If you need a hero for a specific event, or you just want that extra star for an event, or PvP, something like that, I can see that as being a reasonable expenditure. It's only 15 gems for me. It's probably 20 from normal, but I have a VIP, so it's slightly reduced. Lastly, one of your other big expenditures of gems is going to be in your runes. So if you look at rune crafting, see if there's any that I actually need right now. I'm going to go with vampiric. Can never have too many greater vampiric, so I'll actually go ahead and craft this one. So take note of what my gem count is right now, because when you start tuning these things, those gems are going to fly right by. So in general, if you're going to craft runes, be cautious of how many gems you have. I've already had several guild members run out of gems when trying to craft graders. So in general, for graders and superior, don't go in there with less than 1,000. Improved, you could probably get by with 600 or 700 if you have the absolute worst luck. So we're starting out with 2419. The first one is 1 gem. And nice thing about vampirics is they all tend to have the same base stat loadout, where it's attack, health, and I think attack again, maybe skill. This one here is going to be pretty much committing to the full level, because honestly, it's a pretty shitty rune to start with. In most cases, I wouldn't even probably commit to this one, but being that it's a vampiric and I just wasted a fang on it, and I'm trying to demonstrate for all my viewers here, I'm actually going to commit to the full 12 levels of tuning and see how much it actually costs. So it's going to go up. There's 10, and then 25 is the next one, 45. At least it's successful so far. There's our first failure. 65. You can see this is going to grow pretty rapidly. 75. Oh, how about that? We just got to a legendary. Still got one more star to. I don't know if I'll get it with the last 6, but the whole point of this here is to show how much we're actually spending. So there's another 75. Next up is 80. 80 again. 85, 90. And we got our last star. How about that? That's almost never happened. So, I forgot what I started with, but I think it was like, I want to say it was like 2,400. Yeah, it was about 2,400. So I spent 800 gems to fully tune a grader. So, like I said, if you go in with 1,000, that's probably going to be a good starting point. So, this actually is going to turn out to be a great rune. So, it's legendary, it's 5-star, and it's got the 9% lifesteal. That's as far as making a video, honestly, I don't think that could have turned out any better. So, don't expect that sort of luck. Although personally, I've had some pretty decent luck tuning. The bad luck that I've had is actually with the skill layout of choosing some of the other runes where you end up with a resist and dodge chance that you just don't want. So I'll consider myself lucky with this one here, so we'll go ahead and accept this. And we'll save that for a rainy day, put that on a nice hero. So if you're planning on making a bunch of runes, especially once you get to level 50, 60, 70, gems are going to be really, really important for you. So keep an eye on how many you have and how many you're generating. If you're generating the 300 some per day, basically you can do one greater rune every 3 days. So it's a little bit slow going. Determine how you actually want to spend those gems. But outside of gem spending, I tend to like to keep my gems intact. Normally I would have saved that 2,400. I wouldn't have spent that on a rune. That's just I wanted to show what it costs for actual decent runes. Normally I like to keep a buffer of 2,700 at all time, just in case a feature comes up for somebody that I don't have. If we took a look at my hero roster, there's still a few gaping holes in there that I'd like to fill in. So the next time I get not Ice Bloom. The next time I get a Hansuke feature, I'm going to try and get him to 6-star. He was featured just a little while ago, but I didn't have hardly any gems because I blew him on superior runes, and so I ran out. Other than that, he's my main focus right now, but there are some other ones that I'd like to spend on in the future. Couple other little places where you can spend gems. If you go to the shop, I don't personally recommend these very frequently. But occasionally, depending on what your situation is, if you go out to gold, the only reason you would ever spend gems on gold is if you are, I don't know, maybe in the process of upgrading a rune and you just need a little bit more gold. I can't personally see any instance where the gems for gold trade-off is going to be viable. However, if you go into the specials, occasionally you will see a Celestial Evo out here for usually quite a bit. So I've seen 800 gems, and I think I've seen 250 gems for certain hero tokens. These here are rare purchases in my opinion. I would find it a little bit easier to stomach if I were to look at the Celestial Evo and find a way to craft it rather than drop a good chunk of gems on it. Unless I really needed to ascend somebody quickly, like it's a brand new hero and I want them fully ascended, then maybe I would buy it. The other one, spending gems on revive potions, sometimes you're eventually going to run out of those. And I ran out of those a couple of times myself doing my boss mode series. You may have even seen me purchase a few. I generally don't recommend using gems for stamina. Personally, I feel like if you use your Tower of Ponage points, you can get a bunch of stamina there. So unless you're in a real bind and you need stamina to farm for an event, then maybe use your gems. Personally, I would use I would actually buy a stamina pack before I actually use my gems on them, because usually when you buy the stamina packs, you get much more bang for your buck. So I know gems are a big topic. I could have easily went on for probably a half hour, and we're approaching 15 minutes already. So if you have any specific questions, or you have recommendations, or looking for recommendations on better places to earn gems as far as fast leveling versus slow leveling, better places to spend your gems on, how much you should save, should you use them for this or for that, feel free to leave your questions in the comments and I can reach out to you personally. Otherwise, you can always start a conversation. So hopefully this was a little bit beneficial to you and give you some insight in terms of how gems are going to be acquired and used throughout your experience in the game. So thanks for watching. Stick around next time for episode 5, which is going to be your quick loot and your loot keys.